Give us a Columbus welcome to Coach Dabo Swinney.
Thank you. Appreciate that. First of all, appreciate the food and those who prepared it. It's my kind of lunch: fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, green beans, and some corn and a biscuit. It don't get any better than that. So we're off to a great start already. But it's an honor to be able to speak at this event, even though I'm like, I guess, bottom of the barrel, because, I mean, Nick Saban, Mark Richt, Kirby Smart, and all them other greats that he taught. Finally, I guess I was the short straw this year, but just take what you get, I guess. But I'm glad to finally have an opportunity to come and be a part of this event. And I just want to say, first of all, congratulations to all the recipients. What a great honor it is to be the best of the best, to be recognized by your teammates, by your coaches, by the communities that you come from as the best of the best at what you do. As an athlete my whole life and a coach, man, I have great appreciation for the amount of work that you have to put in to be the best that you can be. So congratulations to y'all, and then also want to thank DJ and Dale for putting this event on. And I think it's you know, here's two former players from this area, from this community. I think the main thing is you know, it's one thing to be an example as far as how you go and you live, and you know, your playing days, and you play in college and what you do after college, and all those things are impactful to your community. But the best way you can impact your community is to serve and give back. And for y'all to be willing, because y'all don't have to do this, but for y'all to be willing to recognize these young men and to remember what it was like for somebody to say, hey, good job. You know, a little bit of encouragement goes a long way. So that's what this is about today. And again, I just appreciate y'all for doing it. So we're here today to celebrate these student athletes. But first of all, I'm going to talk just a little bit about really what brought us all here together today. All right? The food was great, but that's not what brought us together. What brought us together was the game of football. And so I'm going to talk just a little bit about that. I love the game of football. I mean, I always, sometimes I kid when I go and speak, especially when I go to churches and stuff, and I always say God created football on the 8th day. And I just have such a great passion for this game. I have a great passion for the lessons that come from this game and the parallels that it has with life. I just think it's one of the greatest teaching opportunities and learning opportunities that you can have, whether you're playing or coaching in this game. This game teaches discipline, toughness, structure. Teaches young people, you know, how to think the right way. Teaches you how to win and lose. Teaches you how to be a great teammate. Teaches you how to come together. It creates so many opportunities for so many people. I think the game of football, in my opinion, is one of the last great places where there's positive influence. You know, that's being sown into young people. And it is a game of positive influence. But, you know, it teaches young people how to pay the price. You know, we live in a world now where everything is just like, you know, right now. You want to send a picture to China, boom, just it's gone. You know, you got to do a paper. You don't have to go to the library anymore and do index cards. And, you know, you just Google. Everything's right now, but in the game of football, you still got to pay the price, man. You got to put the work in. There's no shortcuts, and it teaches a work ethic and cultivates a work ethic that I think is rare today, especially in young people. But what I love mostly about football is it truly changes lives. Here's this simple game, but it changes lives. It mixes race and religion like nothing else. I mean, and I have experienced that. You know, people talk about we need less football. We need more football. In fact, we ought to go to Congress and create some football teams, have a little inside drill, and some 7-on-7, and some man-to-man. And all of a sudden, you'll see people get along a little bit better. Because that's what the game of football does. The game of football brings people together, and they start out as teammates because they all got the same logo on, but they leave as brothers. They become family through the game of football. That's what I've experienced. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. I just had a 25-year reunion back during the season. I was able to go back to Tuscaloosa to be a part of it, and you would have thought that it was like 25 years was yesterday because of the relationships, the brotherhood. It's special, and that's what football does. I see it every week. Whether you go to Tuscaloosa and there's 100,000, where you go to Auburn and I don't know, maybe there are 100,000, 90-something thousand, where you come up to Clemson. We're struggling. We're only about 85,000 up there. But wherever you go, you see people come together. You see tailgates. You see people sitting beside each other that probably Monday through Friday they may not have anything to do with each other. Might walk right by each other because they drive a different car, they live in a different neighborhood, or maybe they're a different religion or whatever. But, man, when them Tigers score, man, they hugging, they high-fiving. They just going on and on and on. That's what football does. It's special. It really is special, and it's an honor to be a part of it. And the best part of football, to me, is it brings joy to people. In this world, we have a lot going on. But for whatever reason, especially here in the South, there is a passion for college football especially that just kind of lets everybody kind of have a little time out, and it unites, and it just brings joy to people. I promise you, January the 9th, this past January the 9th, when we beat Alabama, there was a lot of joy here in Auburn. Can I hear it from my Auburn fans? I know that we brought a lot of joy to the Auburn folks. That's a beautiful thing, all right? So there's that type of joy. I go a week after winning the national championship. I'm in Brooklyn, New York. I don't know how I got to Brooklyn, New York, first of all, but I'm at a little hotel in downtown Brooklyn, and I get up and I'm going to try to go to a school, and I was standing at the little checkout thing, and I get me a bottle of water and I think a Fig Newton or something, maybe a banana, and I'm getting ready to check out, and I could tell this guy's just wearing me out. He's staring a hole in me, but I'm not paying any attention, and I just kind of shook my head at him, and he was a foreigner from, I don't know where he was from, but he was a guy that I could tell was from another country, and the next thing I know, I just hear him just start saying, "I so happy you win. I so happy you win. I pull for you. I pull for your team." And I look at him and I'm like, well, I appreciate that, So here's football. Here's a guy from Pelham, Alabama, getting a water in Brooklyn, New York, and I got some guy from I don't know where talking about how excited he is. And instantly we had something to talk about, and I just think that's great, and that's the power of football. And then you got that type of joy, and then I'm always reminding our players of how you play matters, and I get mail all the time, but I got a really great letter from a man last year, and I read it to the team, and he was talking about he was going through chemotherapy, having cancer, and he just, the letter was very moving, and basically the message was, he just said, he had been through so many rounds of chemo and so many rounds of radiation. I'm doing all this. He goes, but Coach, I got to tell you, the best chemotherapy that I've had all year is those 3 hours I get to watch the Tigers play. I just want to thank you. That's powerful. That's powerful because sometimes as a coach or a player, it's just what we do. And sometimes you can kind of become numb to this is just your life, this is what you do. And I just think, it's things like that give you such a deep and great appreciation for the privilege that it is to be a part of the game, whether you're playing, coaching, whatever it is that you do. I just think it's awesome. And we've had a great run at Clemson. We've won 61 games in the last 5 years. And Alabama's won 62, so hopefully we can catch them jokers January 1. But we had an issue with a player, and he had to go to the hospital, and it was kind of a touchy situation. But so this is like a Tuesday night. We're in the middle of the season, and I've got to go to Anderson Hospital. It's just outside of Clemson, emergency room. Now after practice, it's about 9 o'clock at night. Drive down to Anderson. Kid's mama, she's there, and sister, they're kind of waiting on me right outside the emergency room. Emergency room's right here. Doors just open and shut. People in and out. Place is packed. I mean, you could do a reality TV show at the emergency room on any night, probably anywhere, but certainly in Anderson, South Carolina. And I'm standing outside. First thing I see is mama and sister, and I'm like, okay, they're telling me, hey, everything's okay. They're kind of giving me an update on what's going on, and we're kind of literally standing here, and the doors open, closing. And now this is right outside of Clemson, so a lot of people will recognize me. And I'm trying not to make any eye contact with anybody. I'm trying to stay locked in here. And all of a sudden I hear this person, coming, and I just hear this, oh, just moaning and groaning. And I'm trying not to look, but I'm like, I just kind of turn around, and it's this guy, and I don't know if it was his daughter or wife or whatever, but they were kind of helping him to the emergency room, and he's just going, oh! And sure enough, we make eye contact. And all of a sudden, he went, Coach Swinney? Hell of a year, man, hell of a year. So you tell me that football don't matter. It's amazing. So I love the game of football, and I started playing. They wouldn't let me play till the 5th grade. I had scoliosis, and so they wouldn't let me start playing when I was in the 5th grade, and played all the way through high school, and then played at Alabama all my college years. Started coaching in '93, and now I'm in my 23rd year, my 9th as the head coach. Just finished my 9th year as the head coach, and I'm 48 years old now. And man, it has been an unbelievable journey in this game of football that I love, in this life. I'm from Pelham, Alabama, so not too far from here. Lived in Alabama until I was 33, and then God called me to Clemson. And I've been at Clemson, just finished my 15th season, which is just crazy to think about how fortunate I've been to be able to raise my family at one place and to have so many great experiences. But sometimes people ask me why I got into coaching. And I didn't go to college to get into coaching. I didn't know. I went to college to be a doctor. I was going to be a pediatrician. I was a biology major, pre-med for 3 years. And I just realized I didn't love it. It just wasn't what I was. I was going to be a doctor for all the wrong reasons. I knew if I was going to be a doctor, I could make some money and change my life. And, if I became a coach, I wasn't going to make any money. I was going to be broke my whole life, and I'm like, but I finally realized I was doing it for the wrong reason. And that's one of the things I always tell people, man, do what you love. Do what you love, what you're passionate about, and all the rest of that stuff takes care of itself. God's plan, He'll order your steps. And so I got into coaching, first of all, because I couldn't play anymore. If I could still play, I'll tell some of my players right now, if I had your feet right now at 48, I'd still be playing, all right, because I love to play. But eventually couldn't play anymore. So you got to make the next step. You got to figure out what you're going to do. The other reason I got into coaching is I've always been a part of a team. I played 3 sports. I never stopped. I went from baseball to basketball to football, nonstop, all year round, all through the summer, my entire life. And I was always a part of a team. And, everything that has come to me in life has been through a team. And there's just something special about being a part of that. The other reason I got in is I love to compete, still love to compete. And even though I couldn't play anymore, coaching gave me an opportunity to still compete, to get that result every single week. How'd you do? How do we get better? I love that. And that's the way it's been my entire life. And then coaching gave me clarity for my life. I grew up in dysfunctional situation and home, baby of 3 boys, just a lot of struggles within my family. And sometimes as a young person, you don't really understand, and you ask, well, why me? Why this? Why was I born into this? Why is my dad like that? Why is my life like this? Especially when you're young, you compare yourself to other people. And but coaching gave me clarity. When I became a coach, it was like, you know what, man, I went through those things because God needed to prepare me to do what He's called me to do. And so it changes when you get to know the Lord, it changes your perspective on things. And that's what coaching, it gave me an instant clarity, a crystal clear vision for what I'm supposed to do with my life. All right? And so that's why I got into coaching. And then the biggest reason is I wanted to teach, and I wanted to impact young people the way my coaches had done for me. So that's a little bit about the game of football. I love the game of football. It is a privilege to coach. All right? It is a privilege. It's, the one thing we talk about at Clemson all the time is there's no entitlement. You come to Clemson, you're going to be empowered, not entitled. There's no entitlement. All right? It is a privilege to play and to coach, and it is an honor. And to be able to represent Clemson today and here in front of you is an honor. So what I thought I'd share a little bit about today is, in football, we talk a lot about fundamentals of the position, techniques, and what I thought I would share today is some of the fundamentals that I've learned along the way in my journey that have kind of become the foundation of my life, and the things that I try to instill in our team as we go through everybody's journey, because it's a new journey every year. There's always new people coming through the door, and these are the things that I've applied to my life, and they're kind of fundamentals for excellence, if you will. And so I'm going to talk through those, and hopefully some of these things you can get something out of it. But the very first thing I wrote down is you got to set some goals. And you young people that are sitting in here, I hope that you'll listen because, I've been 16. I've been 17. I've been 18. I've been 19. I've been 20. I've been 21. I've been 20. I'm pretty sure none of you young people in here have been 48. I'm pretty sure of that. All right, and so hopefully you guys will take note of some of these things. But the first thing is you got to set some goals. You can't just be a person that wakes up every day and just tries to figure out what the day is going to be. You got to have some purpose. You've got to have some purpose in what you're trying to do, a vision for what you want your life to look like. And the way you do that is you set some goals. And you put a date on it. A goal is a dream with a date attached to it. You've got to be specific, all right? And when you do set those goals, you got to dream big. That's one thing. If you ask my team right now, listen, we're going to dream. Let's dream extravagantly, right? I got this job 9 years ago, and I'm like, listen, when I got the job, I said, this is going to be the winningest decade in Clemson football history. That's what I see. That's what I see. You got to set. So I put a date out there. We're fixing to have the winningest decade in Clemson football history. Well, we just had our 88th win against Miami. It's the winningest decade in Clemson football history. And we still got a couple years to go. All right? Oh, by the way, that was my number at Alabama, too. I'm just saying. I don't know if it has anything to do with it. But you gotta set some goals. You got to dream big. The Bible says that if you fail to dream, you will lose your vision. And without vision, man shall perish. So you have to dream. You have to dream. But here's something I want to say to you about your goals. It's one thing to write down some goals. I want to lose 10 pounds, whatever it may be. Your commitments have to be greater than your goals. All right, okay, here's your goals, but what are your commitments to achieving those goals? That's what matters, okay? And so it's a daily focus. Your goals are your big picture objectives of what you want to do, but what's your daily focus? What's your formula day in and day out to help you achieve those things? I think that is so important as you set those goals, and you got to be willing to take some risks. When I walked on at Alabama at 170 pounds, I took some risk. All right? I took a lot of risk. You've got to be willing to take some risks along the way to achieve your goals. It's so important that you do that. When I became the head coach at Clemson, I wrote down our team goals, because here's the thing. I think as you set goals and you achieve goals, you have to reset. All right? So when I got the job, I came in and I said, all right, here's our team goals at Clemson. You know, I felt like that these were worthy goals at Clemson. Maybe if I'd have been at another school or something like that, my goals might have been different. But at Clemson, I said, you know what? Here's going to be our 5 goals. Put them on the wall. We want to win the opener. We want to win the division. We want to win the state championship. We want to win the ACC. And we want to win the bowl game. And I said, now, guys, one of these days, we're going to hit all 5 of them goals. And when we do, we'll win it all. But these are worthy goals. We're not going to hit all 5 of them goals every year, but I promise you, these goals are set up to challenge us to be the best we can be at Clemson. And so we go through that process. Some years we hit 3 out of 5, hit 4 out of 5. And then all of a sudden in 2015, same goals, and they changed. The rules were different in 2009 when I got the job. It was the BCS and all that stuff. And so fast forward to 2015, they changed the rules. But see, I failed to reset. And so we play Alabama in that first national championship in Arizona. Now listen, we won the opener, we won the division, we won the state championship, we won the ACC championship, and we won the bowl game. Whooped Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. So we hit every one of them goals. But man, then we had to go play Alabama. And we got beat. And I came back, and that's the first thing I told our team when we started back in February, our new team for 16. I said, guys, it's 100% my fault. Because y'all come in here every day, you look at these goals, you see what's there, and I didn't dream big enough. I didn't set us up for victory. So I've changed the goals. I've changed them. Our goals are win the opener, win the division, win the state championship, win the ACC, and win the closer. I said, now, if we hit all 5 of them, we're going to win it all. And so we came back last year, and we hit all 5 of them, and we won it all. So the point in that is you set goals and you achieve goals, you got to reset them. You got to always strive. You can't ever arrive. You can't ever be complacent. You got to the best of the best are always trying to get better. So it's a great lesson for you young folks. Second fundamental, got to be involved. You can't sit on the couch and play video games every day. I hate that. All right? I didn't even have time to play Atari when I was growing up. Y'all can Google Atari. All right? I didn't have time for that. Man, you got to be involved. Iron sharpens iron. Ain't no iron sharpening iron sitting there on a video game. You got to be involved. Be involved in sports. Be involved in your community. Be involved in your church. Find ways to give back. When you get involved, it creates opportunities for you. It creates and develops work ethic. It helps you to develop relationships that you're going to need as you go through life. I always tell our players, you got to go make it happen. And the only way you can go make it happen is to get involved. Hey, man, listen, I had nothing as a kid, but you know what I did? I went and made it happen. I grabbed one end of a ladder, another guy grabbed the end of a ladder when we were 14 years old, and a rake and a blower, and off we went knocking on doors, cleaning gutters. We started that business when we were 14. I cleaned gutters all until I was 26 years old. I didn't even have to, by the time I was in college, they just expected me to come clean their gutters. Just expected me to. I didn't even have to knock on the door. There's 3 types of people. There's those that make it happen. There's those that make it happen. There's those that watch it happen. And then there's those that wake up about noon and go, what the heck just happened? And so when you get involved, when you take ownership of your life, when you take ownership of your happiness and don't let other things determine those things, you make it happen. Be a make it happen person and understand that there is no elevator to success. There's no elevator to greatness. I was at a coaching convention a year or so ago, and I'm getting ready to get on an elevator. I was in Louisville, and a couple young coaches, a couple young GAs came up to me, and they were like, Coach Swinney, hey, I'm such and such, and, they want to meet me, and they were eager to say hello, and like, Coach, man, we want to be a head coach, and we just want to know, like I'm going to give them a pill, like I'm going to be able to, okay, well, download this app right here. It don't work that way. You know what I told them? I said, well, let me just tell you this. I'm about to get on this elevator, and I'm going to hit 14 because I'm on the 14th floor. You got to take the steps. There's no elevator to success. There's no app. You got to put the work in. And the thing I love about the game of football, as much as the game has changed and different things, man, it's hard work. It's hard work. And the other thing I've learned through the game of football is you can outwork people. When I got to Alabama, I'll never forget it, man. My first practice, I'm looking there, I'm like, man, I ain't ever going to play. Holy cow, this guy's faster than me, stronger than me, he's bigger than me. Oh, my gosh. Earned a scholarship, lettered 3 years, played on a national championship team. What I learned is you can outwork people. You can outthink people. You can outwant people. You can out-effort people. You can out-tough people. That's what the game taught me. You can out-believe people. Okay? There is no elevator. The third thing I wrote down, and I hope y'all will listen to this, is friends. It is so critical that you surround yourself with good people. All right? The Bible says that bad company corrupts good character. All right? My mom said, if you run with dogs, you get fleas. And that's so true. That's so true. You get in the car and they smoking marijuana, it's on you. It's on you. Okay? So listen to me. Don't buy the lie that sometimes your neighborhood wants to sell you. Sometimes who you think your friends are. Surround yourself with good and tough people only. All right? It is so important that you understand that. Seek wisdom from others. Seek wisdom from others. I tell my players all the time, you're going to learn from your own experience. You touch that hot stove, you just learned. You learned. But the wise person learns through other people's experience. The wise person learns through other people's failures, other people's successes. So it's so important that you do that. Surround yourself with the right people. It says in Proverbs, where there is no counsel, the people fall. But in the multitude of good counselors, there is safety. All right, I'm one person at Clemson. I'm just one person. I have a team of coaches. I have a team of staff. All right, I have surrounded myself with a multitude of good counselors. All right, that's where the safety is. Everything good in my life that has happened to me has come through the good of other people, through team. My wife, we met in the first grade, started going together in the sixth grade. You know, y'all call it talking to each other now or whatever. We started like going together. And then dated all through high school and college, been married 24 years. Everything good in my life has come because of good people around me. Everything. The next thing I would tell you is education. This one will touch you a little bit, especially you athletes, because you think so much about your sport, and I understand that. You're passionate about that. But I'm most proud of all the things that I have achieved in my life. I'm most proud. And the biggest change in my life came when I walked across that stage in Tuscaloosa, Alabama to get my degree. You have no idea what a game changer that was for my family. All right, it's like my family, we grew another trunk on our tree when I got my degree. Nobody in my family had been to college. Nobody. My parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents, my two older brothers, nobody had been to college. That was the game changer for me. And listen, football's been amazing. The experiences, the relationships, unbelievable. But man, that got me out of the long line and put me in the short line. It gave me a qualification where people could not discount me. It created opportunities for me that I probably would have never had. I certainly wouldn't have the job I have if I hadn't had my degree. And so, man, I was the first in my family, and I went to school, and this is what I love about our country is and listen, there's always good and there's always bad, but let me tell you, the one thing we do have in this country is opportunity, if you got the will. All right, so I can just tell you, I don't know what all your situation is, but if this guy right here can get an education, you can. I went to college on Pell Grants and student loans. Eventually earned a scholarship, went on to get a master's degree. Football is a vocation. Your education is your career. Don't ever forget that. It is a game changer for you. And here's the thing about it, man, they cannot take it away. Your house can burn down, they can fire you from your job, but they can't ever take that education away. It is so important that you understand that, and understand that as big and strong as a lot of you young guys are in here today, you need to listen to this. If you play this game till you're 30, you're ancient. Your academic ability will far outlive your athletic ability. So make sure that you are being the best you can be academically. All right, that you be a person of excellence in everything that you do. High school degree versus a college degree. It is a proven fact that you will make $1 to $1.5 million more over your lifetime with a college degree. And for you guys that aspire to play in college, understand, first of all, how special you guys are here today. 5.6% of high school football players play college football. 1.67% of the college players play in the NFL. 1.67% of the college players play in the NFL. You better get that degree. And you better understand how important it is. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't strive for that. If you know that's the odds, then you better put in the work, and you better do everything you can to give yourself the best edge possible. Make sure you understand that. So, it truly is the key to your future. When I became the head coach in 2009 at Clemson, the very first thing I did, day one, I set the vision and the philosophy of the program. This is who we are. This is the way we're going to do things, and here's why. And the first thing I sat down, I said, you know what, here's what we're going to want. This is what we're going to be about. This is what we want for our players. The first thing we want for our players is for them to get their education. They're going to get their education. I would rather lose trying to do it right than to win knowing that we didn't. I played with so many guys that the band cheered for, the people clapped for while they were playing this game, that didn't leave with a degree. And then 10 years later, it's sad. I've never wanted that for my players. I want to know that my players are going to. So this is how we set the vision of the program. We're going to make sure that our guys get their degree. They get an education. We're going to make sure that we equip them with tools for life. How to show up on time. How to put in the work. How to win and lose. How to be a good teammate, how to handle adversity, how to handle criticism. Tools that you better have when you go out in the real world. The third thing is I want them to have a great college experience. Let's have some fun. I want them to love their experience. I want to surround them with people that they're going to love to be around. And the last thing was I want them to win a championship. And it's in that order. And I think what happens is people put that the opposite. They say, okay, winning championships is the very first thing. So now all of a sudden, those other things fall to the wayside. But we've kept it the main thing. So here I am. It's not my first year as the head coach. It's 9 years. So how are we doing? How are we walking and living the vision of the program? Well, I've had 171 seniors and 166 graduates. And those five, they owe me, and they're going to get it. I'll chase them down to the edge of the earth until they get it. And we're going to pay for it. All right? So I think that we're walking the walk. We're the only school in the country that has been top 15 in football and top 10 academically in the country 5 years in a row. Last year, last year we had 40, during the championship run last fall, we're taking finals now, but last fall we had 48 guys make a 3.0 or better. And in the spring, after winning the national championship, we set the school record with 53 guys that made a 3.0 or better. And the thing I'm most proud of, which kind of speaks to the culture of what I'm talking about, last year there were 103 juniors that declared for the draft early. Said, hey, I'm leaving college, I'm going pro, I'm this and that. 103 juniors that said, hey, I'm in, I'm going to the draft. Only 8 of those 103 had a degree. But 4 of those 8 came from Clemson. Deshaun Watson graduated in 3 years. Mike Williams graduated in 3 years. Artavis Scott and Wayne Gallman. And so that's culture. And that is keeping the main thing the main thing. So I know I took a little time on that one, but you young people, you need to hear me on that now. You've got to get your education. You've got to have something else to stand on other than the game of football. And for us, I love winning. The fun's in the winning, as I say all the time. Ain't nobody celebrating in the locker room when you get your butt beat. But it's how you win that matters. It's how you win that matters. If you're winning, but you're not impacting and changing your players' lives, your coaches in here, you lose. Okay? That's just the way it is. So I want to stress that. And the next one I would say is attitude. One of the things that I say all the time is the only disability in life is a bad attitude. I mean, I have people that I see sometimes that they have the least, and man, they are the happiest people I know. I have a Down syndrome young man that works on our staff. He's the happiest kid I know. Every day, every single day, we all have issues. We all have things. This is life. We all have setbacks. We all have failures. We all hurt. We all have screwed up issues in our family. But at the end of the day, one of the most powerful choices that you have is the choice of attitude. The choice of attitude. A good attitude leads to positive thinking. And positive thinking is the foundation for positive results. All right? It is so important that y'all understand that. It's one of the few things that you do control in your life. Happy people just think differently. I just believe that. Happy people think differently. It's the optimist that changes the world. It's not the person sitting around saying, I ain't never going to do that. I mean, y'all got some of them in your family? No, you ain't going to be able to do that. It's the optimist that changes the world. You know, when you choose to have the right attitude, it's not going to change your circumstance. It doesn't change that maybe your mom's sick in the hospital. It doesn't change the fact maybe you just lost your job. But when you choose the right attitude, it creates hope in the future. And like it says in Jeremiah 29:11, man, if you've got hope in the future, you got power in the present to deal with what you are thinking about. And for me, as a young person with a total mess in my family, the one thing that I have always hung on to, was the power of my attitude. And having a positive attitude created a hope beyond my circumstances. Created a belief that, you know what? One of these days it'll be different. And so I just want to challenge y'all as you go through your life to live your life with a smile. Live your life with a smile. Have the right perspective. There's a saying, 2 prisoners behind the bars. One sees the mud, the other sees the stars. Same circumstances, same situation, different perspectives. Okay? It's all how you think. All right? So make sure you live life with a smile and understand that there are people out there every single day that are praying for what we take for granted. There's somebody today praying to be able to get up out of a chair. Like that would be the greatest accomplishment, just to be able to get up out of a chair, or to be able to see, or to be able to hear, be able to feed themselves. Things that we often take for granted. Understand that. Keep that good perspective. Heard somebody say one time, sometimes we all sat around this table and everybody put their problems in the middle of the table. You'd see everybody else and you go, no, I'll just keep mine. Hang on, I'm good. I'm good. You get a little different perspective. Choose the right attitude. I heard a guy say one time, there's no winners and losers, just choosers. It's a choice. It's a choice, the type of attitude that you have. The next fundamental is you got to believe. I'm standing here before you because I have always believed in myself. I've believed in my future. I've believed when it didn't make no sense to believe. I've always believed. And that's why I'm here. You have to believe in yourself in a world that often will not believe in you. A world that will tell you you can't. I carry 2 signs in my team meetings every day. I have for 9 years. One says believe. The other one says it can't be done with the T crossed out. What I had to change at Clemson 9 years ago was I had to create an attitude of belief. Not an attitude of, well, we think we can. We know we can. An attitude of belief. That's where it starts. As a kid, I believed and I thought and I dreamed beyond my circumstances. I believed in a good future. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. Do you know how powerful that is? You young people, did y'all hear what I just said? As a man thinketh, so is he. If you think you can't, you can't. That's the tools that you have available to you. There's a quote from Gandhi that is one of the foundations of our programs. You young people, listen to me now. Your beliefs become your thoughts. Your thoughts become your words. Your words become your actions. Your actions become your habits. Your habits become your values. And your values become your destiny. That's how powerful it is that you believe and you think the right way. As a man thinketh, so is he. If you think you don't deserve it, if you think you're a dog, if you think the world's against you, if you think all these things, well, guess what? That'll become your words. That'll become your actions. That'll become your habits. That'll become your values. That'll become your destiny. Your destiny is determined by what your beliefs are and what your thoughts are. It's so important that you choose to be a person that believes. Sometimes people will say, they've said, you know, I've had people tell me in my life, hey man, he's an overachiever. Always been a little overachiever. And I tell people, no, I'm an overbeliever. Because in Matthew 21:22, it says, in order to receive, you must first believe. All right? I'm an overbeliever. I'm not an overachiever. I think that's something that I've always tried to hang on to. At the end of the day, you have to win in your mind first. Don't let anyone ever walk through your ears with their dirty feet. Okay? And that's what happens, especially in the world y'all are growing up in, where, I mean, it's just, people are on the attack every day, telling you what you can't do and what, man, stay away from that stuff. Don't let people walk through your mind with their dirty feet. Leave it alone. Know who you are. Know who your maker is. Not somebody sitting in their underwear behind a computer screen talking about what you can and can't do. Don't let them. Why would you give them space in your head? Be a believer in yourself. It's so important. The next one is you got to prepare for your opportunities. You got to prepare, guys. Prepare for your opportunities. Be ready. Put the work in. Expect it. Great preparation is the key. I tell my team, we got 4 teams. The separation comes from the preparation. Great preparation is the key. Again, it's an instant world. John Wooden, he was a great basketball coach. He coached for 17 years before he won a national championship. General MacArthur said, preparedness is the key to success and victory. He also said, the more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. Better to be prepared without an opportunity than to not be prepared with one. So my sophomore year at Alabama, I'm grinding. I'm a walk-on. I'm on the scout team. I'm a tackling dummy. Come to a Tuesday practice. We'd had a couple guys get hurt. Come to a Tuesday practice. I don't even think the coach knows my name. Next thing I know, about the 3rd or 4th period of practice, the manager's calling me over there. Hey, Coach McCorvey wants to see you over here on the offensive field. And I'm running over there going, oh, man, I missed class. I'm trying to think what I did. I get over there, and he ain't said to, he had been there since January. This is whatever, late September, early October. He says, Dabo, he said, I'm going to give you a shot today. I'm tired of these guys. He said, you got a white jersey? Because back then we wore whatever color of the team we were playing. I said, yes, sir, I got a white jersey in there somewhere. And he said, go change. I'm going to give you a shot today. And if you do good, I'm going to play you this week. Out of the blue. Boy, I went in that locker. I had every color jersey you can think of. I finally found that old white jersey. Got down on my knees and prayed. But I was prepared. Even though I didn't know I'd ever get an opportunity, I worked like I was. And I was prepared for my opportunity. I played that weekend. I didn't miss a game for the rest of my career. That was for my sophomore year. Took advantage of an opportunity. Fast forward to 2008. I'm an assistant coach at Clemson University. Come to work on a Monday. Middle of the season, we're 3-3. Staff meeting. Everything's good. It's about 10:30 now. We're all doing our deal. Coach Bowden calls another staff meeting. It was kind of a weird deal. We go in the staff meeting. He says, hey, they're making a change. AD walks in. He says, Dabo, you now the head coach. You call all the shots. I need to see you in my office in 5 minutes. Terry Don Phillips. You know, and I mean, this is like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. But I had prepared from the day I got into coaching to be a head coach. I didn't know if I'd ever get an opportunity to be a head coach. But, buddy, I wasn't going to let an opportunity slip by. And at that time, I didn't know it. I know it now. But at that time, there had been like 32 interim head coaches in the middle of the season in college football history. None of them got the job. 0. So I'm glad I didn't know that stat at the time. You know, sometimes ignorance is just great, right? But I was prepared for an opportunity. So you have to prepare for your opportunities. I tell our guys, someday, how many of y'all in here, someday I want to go to college? Someday I want to get my degree. Someday I want to play on this team. Someday I want to get married. Someday I want to be a father. Someday I want to own my own business. Someday I want whatever. Well, let me just tell you, someday depends on today. In order for someday to become a reality, it depends on what you do today. That's what I tell my players all the time. My goal, I'm loyal to the 30-year-old version of you. Not this 18, 19, 20, 21. I'm loyal to the 30. The 30-year-old version of you is counting on me to kick your butt right now and to challenge you and discipline you and hold you accountable and teach you and equip you so that when you get 30, you don't look back and have regrets. That's how I run the program. Someday you're going to be 30. And in order for someday to become a reality, it is so important that you win today, that you understand the power of a day. And someday, some days are long, Lord, but the years are short. The years are so short. All right, so it's so important that you put the work in. My guys get tired of hearing me say it. I tell them, hey, your college time's going to come and go. You seniors, this is it. I will do what I can while I can so that when I cannot, I will not wish that I would have when I could have. Can everybody amen on that? I mean, listen, we don't get to go back. I'll do what I can while I can so that when I cannot, I will not wish that I would have when I could have. Today. Let's don't wait. Let's do it today. Okay, so it's so important. The next one is you just got to bloom where you're planted. That's the fundamental of my life. I've never been a guy that's looking over here, looking for the next job, looking for this, looking for that. I've turned more jobs down. Y'all don't read about it in the papers. You don't hear about it. Man, I just want to be great where I'm at. I just want to bloom where my feet are planted. Okay? Bloom where you are. I tell people all the time, just be great at whatever you do, and people will take notice of that. The reason Coach Stallings wanted to hire me as a GA was because what he saw in me as a player. what he saw in me. And when I'm a GA, when my time as a GA is up, he wants to hire me as a full-time coach at 26 at Alabama. Not because I was some brilliant coach, because of what he had seen. Just bloom where you're planted. Whatever it is you do, you just do the best you can. If you're the last person on the totem pole, be the best last person on the totem pole that there's ever been on the totem pole. That goes back to attitude. Just be great where you are. You never know who's watching. Back to those two things. I'm sitting there in 1990 at Alabama. I didn't know Woody McCorvey knew my name, but he had been watching me. He was paying attention. 2008, Terry Don Phillips, he'd been watching me. He'd been listening. He'd been watching me practice. He'd been seeing how I handled my players and so forth. You never know who's watching. So just bloom where you're planted. The next one is character. Do what's right when nobody's looking. So you young people, and I know there's some great players in here. One of the things that I'm big on with my staff is every week I get a social media report on every player we're recruiting. Oh yeah. I got a whole team of students. The CIA, the Clemson Intelligence Agency. I got a whole team of students, and they know that world. And man, we track all of them. Because I want to know not who they say they are, I want to know who they are. And so, I don't care about all that, man. They like this school, they like this. I care less about. I'm looking for one thing. I got a column that says questionable material content. I'm looking for a red yes. Because I want character. I want character. See, you can get to the top by talent, work ethic, but only your character will keep you there. And so I'm always looking at that. Man, this guy retweeted a pornographic video. This guy, this and that. Listen, everything you guys type, it's there for the rest of your life. You need to understand that. And if you don't think we're looking at it and your future employers are looking at it, your future wife's going to look at it. Yeah. Lord, have mercy. Are we not glad there was no social media when some of us above 30 were growing up? It's amazing. It's amazing. So understand, do what's right when nobody's looking. I tell our team all the time, champions are made when no one's looking. Championships are won when the stands are empty. You don't show up and win a championship when everybody wants to play on game day. Woohoo, let's go. Championships are won when the stands are empty. That's when you win, because that's when the character of your team is developed. That's when you find out what you're made of. What you do in the dark will come to light. That's what the Bible says. What you do in the dark will come to light. We see that every single day. Just turn on the news. Every single day. What you do in the dark will come to light. I told our team going into the championship game last year, I mean, this is a big moment. This is a big stage. This is like a moment that you've lived your whole life for, coaching and playing. I mean, and you're there. You're fixing to kick it off. It's 4 quarters. I mean, you're playing Alabama. They are a bunch of freakazoids over there. I mean, it's unbelievable. We just hope we can get a first down. And I told our guys, I said, hey, listen. If you will just let the light inside of you be brighter than the light that's on you, you'll be just fine. And that's exactly what I would tell you young people as you move forward. You let that light inside of you be brighter than whatever light gets on you as you go through your life, you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. You'll make the right decisions. You'll surround yourself with the right people. Because again, remember, your talent and your work ethic can get you to the top of your craft or whatever it is you want to do, but your character is the only thing that will keep you there. Sooner or later, that's what the difference is going to be for you. I love this fundamental. You got to learn to be a giver and to serve others. You got to learn to be a giver and to serve others. Martin Luther King said that we all have greatness in us because we can all serve others. Never been a greater quote ever. We all have greatness inside of us because we can all serve others. What a true statement. You give of your time, your talent, your resources, and I really believe that God blesses us so that we can allow blessings to flow through us to other people. That's what it comes down to. Let the blessings of life flow through to other people. Don't be this reservoir. Be a river, man. Let them flow. Let them flow to those around you in your life. Serve others. Life is truly about how you impact and bless others. That's really what life is about. The philosophy of our program, if you just want to peel it all back at Clemson, is to serve their heart, not their talent. That's what we talk about. Serve their heart, not their talent. That's how I run the program. If I'm serving their talent, and I know he's smoking dope, I know he's cutting class, I know he's being a bad citizen, play him anyway. If I'm serving his heart, I'm going to sit him down. Serve their heart, not their talent. And our whole philosophy is that if we serve, love, and care for our players, then we will build men that will serve, love, and care as they move on from our program. And with all the things going on in the world, what I tell my players is, guys, we got what the world wants right here. We got it. I see it every day. I see love. I see respect. I see joy. I see just team. When you leave here, take that with you. Take that with you. Take it into your communities. Take it into that next locker room. Take it into your marriage. Take it into your church. And that's how you can create great positive change. Because you know what it looks like. You know what it looks like, and it's special. And y'all going to have to bear with me on this one. All right? I should have put this one first, but might have just quit right there. But this fundamental of life is you have to have a spiritual foundation to your life. Guys, you have to have a spiritual foundation to your life. One of the things that I do every year with our players is I'll get one of them come up there and I'll take a football and I'll say, all right, now stand on that ball. And I'll try and they're doing this deal like that. And that's kind of how life is if football is your foundation in your life. It's going to be very rocky. Or if your job is your foundation of your life. Or if your marriage is the foundation of your life. Or if your house you live in, or your country club, or the team you pull for. You got to have a spiritual foundation to survive and thrive in this world. If you don't hear anything else I said today, I hope you hear that. You have to have that. Because there's going to be storms in life every day. Trying to live in this world, if you jumped in the car right now in Columbus, Georgia, with a half a tank of gas, and take off and drive to New York, that's like living life without faith. Because sooner or later you're going to run out of gas. Sooner or later, and that's when you don't have life without faith. Sooner or later you're going to have a circumstance in your life. Your mom's going to die. Your wife's going to leave you. You're going to get fired from your job. Somebody's sick. Maybe you lose a child. Sooner or later, you're going to have a circumstance in your life that it's not going to matter what team you pull for. It's not going to matter what's in your bank account. It's not going to matter what color you are. It's not going to matter who you know. You're going to have a circumstance in your life where there ain't going to be but one thing that can give you peace and comfort, and that is a relationship with Christ. Period. The end. There's no way that anything can be a better foundation for your life than Christ. God will help you turn those liabilities into great assets. Sometimes things happen, and you're just like, man. But eventually you look back and you go, man, God was right there the whole time. He will help you turn the liabilities of your life into some of the greatest assets that you have. He will use those things if you allow him to work through you. We're supposed to give God praise in our sufferings, in our good times, all the time. And when you learn that, you can deal with anything that comes your way, because every day you can wake up and you can say, God, no matter what happens to me today, there is nothing that you and I can't handle together. And that's where peace comes from. That's where perspective comes from. That's where the joy comes from, not from a scoreboard, not from a paycheck. That's where the true joy comes from. As I'm just going to tell you, Jesus is the hope of the world. Not a president, not Twitter, not Snapchat, Instagram, ESPN. Jesus is the hope of the world. That's where your true hope and peace will come from. And if you put your eyes on him and everything you do, you believe and you don't quit, man, there's no way you can fail. And when I talk about having a spiritual foundation, I just tell you, nothing great will happen without passion and enthusiasm. Passion is love. You got to love what you do. You got to love it. And enthusiasm, that means God within. You show me somebody with some enthusiasm, I'm going to show you somebody's got a little God within them. Nothing great will happen without those two things. And I know I've got long. I got a couple more here and I'm done. But I came a lot further than y'all. You told me to bring my A game, didn't you? All right. Just hang in there. All right. These are my notes. These are handwritten notes, by the way. I ain't no typed up. I didn't print it off the internet. This is just what the good Lord wanted me to share with you today. The next fundamental for me is you got to have some thick skin. You better have some thick skin. You cannot please everybody. There's just no way. So you better make sure you've got some thick skin, because there's going to be criticism. There's going to be criticism in everything that you do. That's just the way it is. So for me, it comes back to the man in the mirror. If I can look at the man in the mirror and know that I've done the best I can to honor God in everything that I've done, and that I have been prayerful with my decisions, and then I can live with whatever result we get. But you have to have thick skin and understand that you got to be true to yourself and stand for something. You know, if you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. I mean, you got to believe in something, and you can't worry about somebody going to criticize you for it. That's just the way it is. Stand on your own 2 feet. And in this one right here, you got to keep on keeping on. Bad things are going to happen. Just bad things are going to happen. We all make mistakes. There's not one perfect person in here. We all deal with adversity, every single one of us. But what I've learned in my walk, in my journey, is you got to shake it off, man. That's what football teaches you. Get your butt up. Next play. Next play. Next play. Shake it off. You cannot let the mistakes that you've made or the circumstances of your life be reasons for failure. To be excuses. I can't tell you how many times I've had a player be in my office or whatever for the wrong reason, and they want to make excuses. Well, you don't understand, this is my dad this, my mom that, I grew up in, I'm like, whoa. Check that at the door. Let me tell you, we got to change how you think. Those are reasons for you not to do that. Those are reasons for you to show up early, stay late, because we're trying to create change. We're trying to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. You got to shake it off, and don't let the circumstances that you've dealt with or the mistakes that you've made in the past be reasons for you to fail or excuses for bad behavior. It ain't ever too late to do what's right. Ever. Shake it off, man. Make the best of it. Live your life. I live my life I have forever. God never says oops. We serve a perfect God. He never goes, oh, man, my bad. Dadgummit. Didn't mean for that to happen. Shoot. Darn it. Just had a bad day. God don't have no bad day. God never says oops. He paints on a canvas way bigger than we'll ever be able to see. Sometimes it looks like a mess to us, but from his view, it fits perfectly in the picture. God never says oops. So shake it off. Shake it off. And know this, we never lose our value to God. Ever. If I took out a $20 bill right now and put it on my armpit, scratch my nose with it, I guarantee you somebody would take that 20. Because it's still 20. And that's the way it is. We're with God. Sometimes we're crinkled and folded up and we might be a little dirty. But man, we never lose our value to God. Ever. We're all 5 stars. We're all first-round draft picks. We all have an eternal contract when it comes to our God. So just keep on keeping on. And the last one is you got to be all in. Whatever it is that you do, when I say be all in, that means be committed to just being and doing the best you can with what you got. Your best is different from your best. Your best is different from your best. I got a team of 120. They're not all the same. I just need everybody committed to being and doing the best they can be. Nobody can ask more than your best. I want every player to be the best version of themselves. And when you're all in, you're committed to doing the best you can in everything that you do. Being a person of excellence. Hey, Vic Beasley, who played for me, he's led the NFL in sacks last year. Man, football can end today. Vic Beasley is a great human being. He just happens to be a guy that can rush a quarterback. That's just something he does. That ain't who he is. If football ended for today, that's not his identity. He's going to dental school. He's going to dental school. He's going to be a dentist. Be committed to being and doing the best that you can in everything that you do and put your heart into it. The Bible says whatever you do, work at it as though you're working for the Lord. When you put your heart into something, you go above and beyond. You go above and beyond. And then whatever it is you're doing, make sure you finish with no regrets. Finish with no regrets. We all got a birth date. We all got a death date. The dash is what matters, right? It's how you live your life. Make sure that whatever it is you're doing, we got a season right now. We started the season August 1. We're going to finish, hopefully, January the 9th or whatever it is, 10th, whenever that day is. Don't be saying January 1. Whoever said that over there, I heard you. I heard you. But there's going to be an end day. There's going to be an end time. Let's make sure you finish with no regrets. And you know how you finish with no regrets? You just do a little extra. So let me say in here, how about everybody in here, raise your hands if you're proud of these guys in here. Let's just raise our hand real quick. Raise your hand. All right, now I'll tell you what. Raise your hand as high as you can raise it. High. Y'all see that? That's what it takes. That little extra. See, that's where it is. Y'all saw when I said raise your hand, everybody just came and gave me that. But when I said give me all you got, what'd you do? So to be great at something, to be all in, you got to give it all you got. You can't be half in, you got to be all in. You got to give a little extra. That's what it takes. So, no, I went a little long today, but those are great fundamentals for me, for my life, for the journey that I've been on, things that I've learned through this great game. And just want to thank you all again for having me. And I want to just congratulate all you athletes. You know, what a privilege it is. Don't take it for granted. Don't take it for granted. Don't take for granted the platform that you have to make a difference. For your teammates that you have now, for people who are watching, people are paying attention. All right, we got enough bad examples out there. And unfortunately, there's so much more good than there is bad, but good don't sell. The bad's what sells. So let's don't give them the bad. Let's make them have to show the good. So be a good example. Take advantage of your opportunity. And I just want to thank you guys again for putting this on, for honoring these student athletes. And I look forward to following you guys as you move forward. And I know I was the last pick. I don't know who you're going to have next year. So good luck. God bless y'all.